if there's a way for Trump to, I mean, he got democratically elected, so as much as I don't like him.
That's like misinformation. Why
no, sorry. He got.
Why are you air quoting that?
I just don't like Trump, okay? But anyways, he got democratically elected, so I wouldn't go back in time and prevent that from happening.
Okay. What about you? Would you?
I would never.
Can I just have you scoot into the table just a little bit?
Yeah.
You wouldn't what?
I would never falsely accuse someone.
Okay, even for money? Even
no
a million?
circumstance.
Okay, what about you?
Falsely accuse someone? I literally just got back.
Would you falsely accuse a man of SA for $100,000?
No.
$1 million? Mm-mm. To prevent Trump from becoming president? Mm-mm. Okay, what about you?
No.
Nothing?
Oh, okay. Okay. So to prevent Trump from becoming president, I'm like, he's already a felon. So what does that even make?
Lawfare, New York State lawfare, and it was some fucking petty financial shit.
I'm just saying, he's already a felon. So what good does that make if I choose to make it for him?
Whoa, oh my God, why do you got to go there? First off, no, he didn't.
So you're saying he's not a felon?
Fake news.
All 34 counts.
You're saying he's not a felon?
No, I'm responding to her. She says Trump was never convicted
didn't make that clear, that's
of
why.
rape.
She won the case, and she.
You don't even. It was a civil case, massive lawfare going on against Trump. He wasn't convicted of rape.
As far as I'm concerned,
he wasn't convicted of rape, but he had 30 charges.
They were like financial. He forgot to. I don't know the details on that.
So
it was completely fucking political theater, lawfare. There's some like financial. I don't know, what was it, Nick? He paid for something or didn't do proper accounting on some shit. Whatever.
So would you say Trump has never sexually harassed or assaulted women ever?
Well, I couldn't say that definitively because I don't know. But there hasn't beyond a reasonable signs point to yes. Okay, what prevents somebody from accusing you of having like been a pedophile? Signs point to yes.
Nothing, but I'm saying there's a lot of claims against Trump, and there's a lot of charges that have been brought up against him.
You realize Trump is like the most hated man in the world, and like
I wonder why.
Yeah, well, so
he's said things himself.
There's massive amounts of political motivation. Do you think people just don't lie?
People lie? What is that pointing to?
People will murder people for totally
billionaires
reasons.
are never good people.
People will absolutely lie about a bunch of things if it's politically expedient to make a false claim about a politician. We saw this happen with a bunch of politicians, and it happened with Democrats too. But as it relates to Trump, as it relates to Kavanaugh, these claims, if you actually look into these cases, and look, there are valid claims of these crimes, but if you look at these specific allegations, these are happened 20, 30 years ago, and the claims are so ridiculously vague. It's completely lawfare. These women are politically motivated, and they're kind of mentally unwell.
So, okay, most politicians don't have as many charges and claims about relating to
Donald Trump is the preeminent politician for the past decade.
Most presidents haven't had that many charges and claims relating to sexual harassment and assault. I'm still talking. Hold on.
Let me just one point. There's a massive political machine that wanted to do pretty much everything they possibly could to ensure that President Trump could not become president again. Massive political machine to do it. So they tried to assassinate him more than 2 times. It was twice, but I think maybe even other attempts. So, look, we don't know the truth of what happened here, but if you actually looked at the specific person you're referencing, and then especially if we look at this Kavanaugh thing, I don't know if you recall what happened with the Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh, massive political incentive to lie about this.
As far as my understanding goes, and that I'm aware, there was a woman who brought a charge against Trump about him.
A civil claim, which, by the way, the threshold for evidence. So in criminal cases, it's beyond a reasonable doubt. The threshold is far lower. Not to mention, who knows, the jury selection in New York, massive political interest in making sure this person was prosecuted, found guilty of this. Would you acknowledge that somebody could be well, in civil cases, it's found liable, I guess. But even in found guilty for criminal cases, I don't think they use the term guilt in civil cases. Would you agree that you could be found guilty of a crime but not have actually committed the crime? Like, is it possible?
Yeah, false incarceration happens all the time.
Exonerations all the time. We see this all the time, especially if this is something that's important to you. We actually see black men frequently thrown under the bus by white women who either experience regret or social shame for having had a consensual sexual encounter with a black man. There's all kinds of reasons why these fake allegations are made.
There's also a lot of true allegations.
Sure, there are absolutely. This crime is absolutely something that happens, but we see a disproportionate impact on black men, for example, where they've been in prison for years and years and years, and they have their life ruined by a false allegation of this sort.
I mean, again, like when it comes to Trump, I'm just like, when I'm considering, okay, what could be true, and I see a large amount of claims brought up against Trump regarding sexual harassment, sexual assault, and I've also like heard the statements he's made, like, oh, grab them by, that kind of thing that he said. Also, like the weird stuff the weird like ways he's acted towards women. Actually, in the high school I went to, they had like a school trip where they visited like a Trump convention, and he like touched one of the girls slightly inappropriately, and it became like a whole article.
Oh, you'd have to point to Joe Biden being a fucking creepy weirdo.
Yeah,
dude.
I don't like Joe Biden. I don't like Joe Biden, so that's definitely not something that. Anyways, but
all right,
like when I'm evaluating, okay, what kind of person is Trump, and I see the amount of these claims, I've seen his statements, and I've seen his behaviors. Oh, that's kind of the direction I go in evaluating that. Like, there's an overall pattern, there's an overall trend.
Okay, but I think you would need to provide, at least you need to provide evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. And these civil cases, the level of evidence required is very, very low. There's massive political shut up back there. There's massive political incentive to get this guy, muddy this guy's name up. It's a political hit job. This happens on both sides of the aisle, these political hit jobs. It's a really effective way to tarnish somebody's reputation. It's been done on both sides of the aisles. Trump obviously has like a massive bullseye on him. So ultimately, nobody was really there when this happened. I personally, after having extensively reviewed the actual complaint and actually hearing like this woman explain everything that's going on, there's like inconsistencies in her story. She doesn't seem totally there. There's massive incentive for this to be a political hit job.
But I also do believe he probably did something. He probably committed some form of
evidence. There's no evidence for it.
The evidence I'm pointing to is just the amount of claims that have been brought up against him, the things he said, and his behaviors. It points to the fact that he's likely made women uncomfortable.
Well, hold on. Making women uncomfortable
sexually harassed
wrong
women
isn't a crime.
Sexually harassed women.
Okay, but now we're shifting the goalposts here. First, it was Trump's a rapist, which, by the way, it wasn't even true in the civil case. He hasn't been convicted of any sort of criminal offense at all related to any sexual assault. There was a civil case. Again, the burden of evidence, it's way lower. What is it? A preponderance of the evidence. Preponderance of the evidence. Massive political bias in the New York State court system.
So did that not happen? There. Did he, for sure, definitively not rape her?
It's unfalsifiable. I can't definitively say one way or the other if it happened. But in terms of, like, do you believe in innocent until proven guilty?
I mean, like, when it
you don't believe in innocent until proven guilty, like the bedrock foundation of the American justice system?
Sure I do.
Okay, it seems like you don't.
But, like, when it comes to, like, sexual assault, I think it is important to believe victims.
It's important to believe.
Like if a woman comes forward and says she's been sexually assaulted, I think she shouldn't be like ignored. I think
it should be explored by, hopefully she goes to the police.
Right.
And hopefully the police does a thorough investigation but why would you immediately jump the gun to should be believed?
Well, again, like, I would advocate for what you're saying, that should be investigated and explored.
So your own personal standard is not innocent until proven guilty.
I believe in, okay, hold on. I believe in innocent, again, I'm not
can
saying.
you straighten your mic
I'm
a
not
little bit?
saying the
Straighten your
person
mic.
she's accusing is definitively guilty, but I'm saying that that should be paid attention to and investigated. And that you shouldn't immediately
Yes,
invalidate her.
absolutely. If a
Okay,
woman
so we're on the
brings-
same page about
if
that.
a woman brings a claim that something's happened, absolutely, the police should do a thorough investigation.
Mm-hmm.
I think she should go to the police. I don't think going to social media should be your first, that shouldn't be your first go-to. I think you should immediately go to the police for the sake of, if there's any like DNA evidence, absolutely. That should be like the first thing you should do. Try to do it immediately.
Right.
But
That's what I mean when I say like giving victims
do you
attention.
think all women who make these allegations, they should always be believed? Like it's always true?
Well, it's not technically always true. Like a woman could lie about that,
Okay.
which is why it needs to be investigated and explored, which is where we're on the same page. So I don't see like why you're arguing against me right now.
Well, you brought it up. I'm asking if your own threshold is you believe in innocent until proven guilty. In this case, she brought it to a civil court, and even in the civil court, he was not found liable for rape. There was some other low-level thing that he was found liable for, but it definitely wasn't rape.
What was it? I'm just curious.
I don't know I forget the exact thing, but it definitely wasn't rape. I think there was look, he was found liable for like some other form of essay or something.
And you're kind of just dismissed. Are you dismissing?
I'm not, well, it's factually true that the totally unbiased New York justice system and the jurists in that jurisdiction, they did find him liable.
They found him liable for sexual assault, which means they
By a preponderance of the evidence.
Okay, well, wasn't your whole thing about like courts finding someone liable for something that is beyond reasonable doubt?
She said that he did something. That's the extent of it.
And they found evidence, which is why he's liable.
What was the evidence?
Well, I mean, I don't know the exact court case, but if he was found liable for it, there must have been evidence.
Was she said he did it. Do you think that that's a good threshold for finding someone liable or guilty of some?
Well, there was
Okay.
probably some sort of evidence if he was found liable for that.
What's the evidence?
Well, again, I don't know the exact court case.
Okay, but if you want me to believe that somebody has committed like a really severe thing, I want some degree of evidence.
What evidence is a woman in that situation supposed to have at that point? Like if it happened, was she supposed to like take photos somehow? Like what?
Oh, I mean, like not waiting 3 decades before making a complaint, waiting until it was perfectly politically convenient and expedient to only bring this claim when there was some political motive.
Mm-hmm. Okay, look, well, what you're saying is that we don't know exactly what happened.
Sure, we don't.
And I can say that too. But again,
But
all I'm saying when it comes to Trump,
I wouldn't default to the man did it absent evidence.
the reason I'm
absent
saying
something
that
else.
it's likely that Trump has sexually harassed or sexually assaulted a woman at some point is because the amount of claims that have come against him, the things he said, and his overall.
They can bring it to the police, and trust me, there's plenty of jurisdictions where the prosecutors would absolutely love to prosecute Trump for various sex crimes. They would love to do it because it would be politically expedient, because there's massive political bias in most, especially in like he lived in New York. He lived in New York State the majority of his life. Democrat state, Democrat prosecutors.
So why can't they
massive political
prosecute
justification. Huh?
Why can't they prosecute him?
I don't know. Maybe for lack of evidence.
Have there not been presidents with lower approval ratings than Trump, and like politicians with lower approval ratings? Like even in other countries, like most politicians don't end up having that sheer amount of claims up against them.
You would have. I mean, look, I'm not aware of every single claim that's been made against him. What we can judge based off is the singular civil case that there was.
But as far as I'm aware, there's been more claims and accusations brought up against him than just that one civil case.
Okay.
And so if there's many claims of something that come out, then that points to the fact that that could potentially be true.
Okay. So if a bunch of people, like if I, in some political cabal, was scheming and doing a conspiracy, and we're like, you know what? Shona, Shona, she's politically dangerous. She we cannot allow her to come to political power. We're going to slander and destroy her reputation. We're going to do every single thing we can to try to paint her in such a way that will taint the opinion and view of her. And you know what? I'm going to get 20 men to say that you grabbed their tushies back at UCSB 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. Just because a lot of people say something, like said that it happened, does it mean it actually happened?
It doesn't mean it actually happened, but when you have a lot of, what I would say to that is that there's been a lot of politicians that people want to plot against and want to take down and who people hate. And this is not, it's like the way that things have happened with Trump has not happened in other instances that I've seen.
Yeah, Trump is a bit of a wild card, but there's massive,
and also
there's massive political incentive that,
and he's,
oh shit, wait, Peo, hold on, sorry. Oh my God, Peo's going to be pissed. He raided me 12 minutes ago. He's going to be all upset. Oh, Brian, you did not. Yo, Peo, I don't know if you're still in the chat, man. Thank you for the raid. I apologize. I was in a heated debate about Trump and all this stuff. So thank you for that, man. Thank you, Peo. Yo, guys, if you're still watching from Peo's 12 minutes ago, drop us a follow if you enjoy these streams. Well, I would like to, honestly, I'll finish off on this thing, but I would like to bring it back to dating. You kind of shoehorned this in here when it was kind of like completely... really just this secondary irrelevant thing. If the will of the people, like for example, if the majority of the United States population, hypothetical here, is against abortion, then clearly like you're fine with that then. So long as a majority of the country wants their political will, then you can't have any counter opinion.
Are you asking me if I believe, can you rephrase that?
Well, you're doing this appeal to the majority. So or not even the majority. You're saying if there's enough people that believe this, appeal to consensus.
No, I said if there's enough claims of something, then it potentially
is it true?
Might be. I'm not saying it is true. I'm saying
like there's a bunch of people that are pro-life. I'm assuming you're pro-choice, right?
I'm pro-choice. That's political opinion. These are accusations of a crime. That's kind of different. I'm saying if there's a lot of accusations of a certain crime brought up towards someone, and there's also certain statements that they've said that kind of align with that in some way, then it is likely that part of that it could be true.
Okay, so you don't believe in innocent until proven guilty then?
Well, that's not what I'm saying.
I mean, I would even argue that this would be actually damning.
I'm saying that
the fact that I would argue that it's actually damning for your position. This idea that there's so many claims, yet not one prosecutor who would have massive political incentive to prosecute him. Not one prosecutor has even tried to prosecute him. Not one prosecutor. This would actually
have you seen how powerful Trump is? He could defend himself very well. Like he can access you think he can pull strings himself too?
Okay, that's fine. But in New York, where I would assume he lived there for most of his life, that would probably be the jurisdiction for most of these claims. I think it would actually bolster my position, your argument, that there's been so many claims, but why hasn't anybody actually there's been actually zero for its entire life. No women have brought. I get that some women wait or whatever, but for wouldn't you expect? By the way, rape has absolutely been prosecuted in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. So yeah, some women don't feel comfortable going to the police. I get that angle, but you'd think if there were so many claims, at least one of them would have opted to have pursued a prosecution of him that didn't happen at a really politically convenient time.
It's not that easy.
It isn't that easy when the figure is as powerful as Trump is. I don't think.
Explain to me how Trump's power would preclude you. How would it preclude you from going to the police?
It doesn't even have anything to do with Trump. I'm just saying it's not that easy to I
understand it can be absolutely difficult after experiencing a trauma to go to the police, and perhaps that can be difficult. I get that, but women do that, and you would think, according to her, there's all these cases of accusations. Perhaps at least one of them would have done what other women do, which is to immediately go to the police, even if it was 1 out of 20. But it's interesting to me that
So all of the women waited 3 decades?
Yeah, because, like,
bring their
I
claims
didn't
forward?
immediately go to the police when it happened. I was scared. I was in panic. Like,
sure, that absolutely, I don't deny that happens.
and it also happened in high school. I didn't want to be looked at as the girl that got assaulted by a football player for the rest of my life.
How do you hope to keep rapists accountable if you won't go to the police? That is the mechanism by which we can prosecute and punish rapists. I understand that it's a difficult thing to go through, but any other crime,
I already
need to
knew
report-
he
you need
wasn't
to
going to
report
get
it, and you
punished,
should report
bro.
it.
He was the number 1 football player on his team. He was not going to get punished.
so you think football players just because they can
I'm not just saying just football players. I'm just saying, like, any dude.
look, just to be clear, rape is a
think she
fucking
means people
disgusting
of
crime.
influence.
Rape is a terrible crime. Should never happen. I think we should actually have stricter punishments for these kinds of crimes. I wouldn't rule out the death penalty for proven beyond a reasonable doubt. I wouldn't rule out the death penalty for a rapist. However, you need to go through the appropriate channels if you want to hold these people accountable.
So given that there's not been like enough definitive evidence that's come out soon enough and women who've gone immediately to the police when it comes to Trump, do you think that all the claims against him, like all,
It's
I'm
unfalsifiable.
just, wait, let me ask my question.
It's unfalsifiable.
I'm asking, do you think it's like all like some kind of scheme to take him down and it's all politically incentivized?
Are you willing to acknowledge that perhaps at least one of these women are politically motivated?
Could have been.
Okay.
But
cool.
I could also, I hope you're willing to acknowledge that at least one of them could be
It's-
to some degree true.
I don't know. It's possible.
And I don't know
But-
it's possible to what you
But
said as well.
at least from my own perspective, I would believe in the burden of proof being beyond a reasonable doubt. Beyond a reasonable doubt. And so far, no jurisdiction.
Okay, and I'm not saying he's guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I'm saying that there is
Okay,
a decent
sure,
chance that
there's
he has
accusations.
done something.
Sure.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm glad we're on the same page about that. Do you think that there's a decent chance that he could have committed something in the list of claims that he's been accused of? Like
I wouldn't.
there's-
No, I wouldn't say there's a decent chance. I would just simply say I don't know. It's possible. Women have made accusations, but to me, in terms of my own perspective, that doesn't reach at least the burden of proof that would satisfy me to believing something.
What do you think about the statement he made that
Which
I mentioned
one?
earlier? Like grab him.
by,
Yeah.
disgusting, completely gross.
Do you think that's someone who maybe has sexually harassed women in the past would say? Do you think that statement and that action could potentially have some overlap?
Logically, that wouldn't compute whatsoever.
Really?
So just
if a man said, "Grab her by the pussy," do you think is the action of a man grabbing a woman in that way, is that sexual harassment?
Hold on. So again, think it's a really gross thing to say. I would never say something like that. That wouldn't be evidence that he's ever raped somebody.
It's not. I'm not saying it's evidence. I'm obviously not saying it's evidence.
I don't think you should. Terrible thing to say.
Do you see how those two things are kind of somewhat maybe have a correlation? If a man says,
No.
"Grab him by the pussy," do you know what? Like the
You would have
action
to
of
actually
groping a woman. A man says,
you would-
"Grope a woman."
That's not what he said. You're being disingenuous.
What did he say then? What was
Nick,
that statement?
What was the exact quote?
They said they let me.
Yeah, completely disgusting thing. Disgusting thing to say. Locker room talk or whatever. Super gross. I would never say it.
Why is it disgusting?
It's just a gross thing to say.
And do you think it's kind of like
it wouldn't-
violating towards women's
How about
autonomy a
this?
little
Do
bit?
you think it's possible somebody can? Do you think it's possible somebody can say that and has never grabbed a woman by the pussy?
It's possible, but do you think it's more likely that someone who says something like, do you think it's more likely that a normal person would say that or someone who sexually harassed women would say that? Which is more likely?
The two, which is more likely?
Let's say there's a person who has never sexually harassed a woman, just a normal person, right? And let's say there is someone who has sexually harassed a woman, who is more likely to have said that?
Logically, it doesn't make any sense.
That does make sense.
It doesn't compute
Is someone who
whatsoever.
has groped a woman more likely to say like that statement or someone who has not groped a woman?
I don't know. I genuinely can't answer your
I
question.
think you're refusing to answer it.
I'm not refusing.
It is okay. Well, I'll say
I can't
it then.
definitively say that.
I think someone who has groped a woman is more likely to make that kind of disgusting statement.
No. Hold on. You're switching it up here. The claim would have to be, has somebody... yeah, very disingenuous.
It's
I see
not
straight
disingenuous.
through it. The
It's
claim
really
would have
not.
to be, has somebody who said X, are they more likely to have groped a woman? You want to do a reversal, this your very rhetorical sleight of hand there. You want to say, is somebody who's actually committed a sexual offense, are they more likely to say X? That's not what I'm arguing. Let's get on the same page.
I don't think my question was that disingenuous.
No.
I just don't think
No.
you like it. And I think it pokes a hole in what you're saying.
How?
Because all I'm asking, like, okay,
Bro, can you not keep bringing it to like, you do realize we're having a conversation and you like had to throw in, by the way, Trump's a rapist.
okay, we can move on from
Isn't
that.
this a debate?
Yeah, but it's like I wanted to talk about other shit. We were talking about fucking...
you've been engaging in that conversation too. So if we
Yeah,
can,
but I
we can
can't
move
just
away
like,
from
if you
it.
just throw out, first off, it's false. Your statement was false. Like, can you walk it back?
Okay, take a chill pill, honey.
Are you mad at me? I was just trying.
I'm a little frustrated just because it's not fair to the rest of the guests that we've been bogged down.
Okay, I'm happy to move the topic along. And
Yeah, but I would at least, like, factually, you're incorrect.
in saying
You
that,
said he was found guilty of rape. He wasn't
I
found
said
guilty
from
of
my
rape.
understanding, I think that he has been.
You
And
said
then
you-
you corrected that. I'm willing. If he's not been found guilty of rape, I'm willing to backtrack on that.
He hasn't.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to move on from this topic? I don't want you to get too heated.
Do you want a
Well,
hat, Brian?
No, I'm good.
I didn't mean to make you angry. I thought we were having a
Well,
conversation.
I wouldn't say I'm angry. It's just like a sort of a frustration.
You're
that,
saying like, bro, let the topics move on. Like,
because we were talking about it and then like a little side thing came through and you wanted like, look, if somebody forwards, I feel like it would not be fair for me to just allow somebody to assert such a serious claim without confronting it. Like if you throw out something that's an accusation, I feel like I have some duty to counter misinformation.
Okay, the way I phrased it before, the way I meant to phrase, I'm trying to speak like very like gently right now. The way I'm aware
It's
I
not
phrased
your tone. I don't care about your tone.
Okay, what I believe I said is that, to my understanding, Trump was found guilty of rape because that's what I believe. That was what my understanding
Well,
was.
you believe in fake news and misinformation. You can Google this after the show if you want to send us a message. Be like, look, I Googled it. Not the case, unless you want to take my word for it. Not found guilty by either civil or criminal court of rape. Do you dispute this?
I'm not disputing that. Again, my overall stance with Trump and all the claims was that he's probably done something that aligns with those claims.
I mean, that's a really dangerous, slippery slope moving away from innocent until proven guilty.
How do you determine the truth?
Yeah, Brian, like my question is, do you have these sources to back up your statement?
Yeah, there was literally the actual determination by the judge.
A judge.
There's a literal judge. Yes, the judge made the determination that he was not found liable for rape.
Yeah.
There's no criminal prosecution of him. He wasn't found criminally guilty of rape.
A judge under his administration, of course.
No, it was a Democrat judge in New York. I mean, I don't know. You want me to pull up the actual fucking
Okay.
thing?
I mean, if you like to.
Nah, I'm good.
Throughout that
Or I can give
conversation,
you a
I did not.
hat.
Okay.